And it's the Wall Street Journal. I wish I was making it up. It's not even a Fast Company. So I just think it's very interesting. I don't have the answer to that, you understand? But I think it's a worthwhile conversation. In some regards, you were asking the right question. What you were hoping for was this. But it's not a problem. It's a predicament. I like your question. But don't ask me. Ask your workers. Say, so what's going on here that has elements of mystery to it? Why are we in business? You know your employees don't care about your business because of the money only. They are looking for meaning. They are looking for purpose. They are looking for legacy. They are looking for value. They are looking to in service of something larger than themselves. Buckingham has made millions of dollars talking about this stuff. That's a good conversation we have with people. And I pay more attention to the answer they come up with than anything I say. It's a good question, though. It's a good question. You're on it. And you really don't have to be sellers in 15 years. 1, 2, 3. You are. Monica.
When you hear all this information, you cut open the wound. What was the process that you used to follow back up if you made changes or did anything with that information?
What? If you cut open the... I mean, of letting people talk about what's wrong?
I mean, there's a healing in that, but then
Yes.
what's worse is if you don't follow up and they're like, well, he's listening, but has he done anything about it?
Here, I mentioned that after they left, I would stay behind. And I would share with them. I said, folks, this is not a problem-solving session. You don't have any power. The president has power. I don't even have power. What we have is influence. I believe influence is the power base of the future. And I would even tell the president I would not pay attention to anything nor take any action on anything that surfaced in one particular meeting. I would pay attention to the stuff that surfaces week after week. That's worth taking. Right? So I would tell him, here's how it works, folks. You're never going to know what the president did with your information. You think after he's in an executive meeting and makes a decision based on what he's heard, he's going to come back and tell you? He doesn't even tell me. You have influence. However, we did have one interesting experience. As I mentioned, we're an energy company. That means like guys out in the field digging holes, putting pipes in, and laying lines and stuff. Yeah? And we have, for our first-line supervisors, we had for many years a car policy. You had a company car. You took it home, and instead of coming into headquarters to get your vehicle, you go right to the work site. And we charge them a nominal fee. Well, guess what? We brought in a high-priced consulting firm, and they re-engineered the whole damn thing. And they said, you're charging these people far too less. You're not in line with business best practice. So we reconfigured how much we charge these people. And then we charged them a lot more. They hated it. They said, it's bad enough I come in early, go home late. I got to use a company vehicle, and now they're charging even more for it? This went on and on and on. After a while, the president said, now he's formerly the chief financial officer. Money, money, money. He said, this policy, I understand it's in line with business best practice. I know everybody else is charging this amount for the company deal. But it's so pissing off our first-line supervisors, and these people are so critical because 2/3 of our people report to them. They're union. I'm not going to disenfranchise them. He walked the policy back. He changed it. Now that one little thing, in some regards it's big, kind of at least demonstrated that on occasion he would actually take action. But most of his actions were probably taken in silent moments. Because he would sit in executive meetings and people from HR would come up and say, this is what's going on, this is how our employees feel, and we recommend that we do thus and such. And he would say, well, that's not what I'm hearing. Or, that is very much in line with what I'm hearing. I think we need to do more of that. So it helped him become an educated consumer. 2. Your name is?
Cherie.
Cherie.
And my question is, when we were talking about the names that were submitted on cards, when people's names are written on the card and you continue this process, 1, how long do you do it? And 2, what happens to those people whose names are never submitted?
answer, I'm not sure of the question. So we did this for many years, by the way, probably about 5. We did 2 years with union people. We did 2 years with first-line supervisors. And we did a year when we went through a merger with the people who were directly involved with the merger and talked about what went well, what didn't go well. Your other question, what about the people whose name wasn't selected?
It's an incentive to obviously have your name submitted because you're going to get this wonderful gift and you're being recognized and rewarded. What about the people who never have their names submitted?
Well, actually, it was not well publicized. This was not necessarily a corporate program. It was kind of informal and idiosyncratic. And we have formal programs, where we do recognize people. But this was more kind of episodic with him, something he wanted to do.
So the word didn't get out there and people's feelings weren't hurt?
I'm no longer in the business of hurt feelings as such, but I mean, nobody gets recognition enough. I do a similar program with the chairman, and what he does is every month he has a dinner with 6 of our managers or directors around what officers are doing that helps, what officers are doing that hurts. At the end of that, he also hands out index cards, and I give him the names. He actually calls people. He says, his name is Bob Cattell. Hello, Mary, this is Bob Cattell. Most of the time, people don't believe it. Cut the shit, who is this? Is this you, Joey? He spends half his time trying to convince the employee that it's actually the CEO calling. But it's another small, it's ad hoc, idiosyncratic. I kind of like those things. Yes, you are.
A junior colleague told me recently the problem with HR professionals in the UN is that the only thing which is human about them is their title.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the UN, which should be really at the forefront of development and human development. Now, you give me so much hope.
I'm sorry to hear that.
After this comment, I'd like to ask you a question. When you transition from being a market to HR, how did you go about acquiring HR expertise? Did you read or did you not read? Did you go to Columbia? Did you do conferences? Because of course you must have been faced with the perception, well, yes, he's a monk, he's courageous, he has been chosen, but he doesn't know anything about HR. And what did you do, and how did you go about it?
When I was growing up, I did not do well in school. Actually, I had to leave school in the 6th grade because of pneumonia. Not because I had it, but because I couldn't spell it. So I was never real good in academics. And when I left the monastery and came to work, I said, what was the most interesting thing for me? In my first year, right, I picked up Peter Senge's book, The Sixth Discipline, the Art, Science of Learning Organization. If you go to his introduction, at the end of his introduction, here somewhere? Has anyone seen my marker? Oh, here it is. Senge talks about metanoia. I said I didn't recognize that word. It's a Greek word. You know where I knew it from? The New Testament. When Jesus showed up at the Jordan River to be baptized by John the Baptizer, John the Baptizer took one look at Jesus and said, this man is about a metanoia, a complete inversion of the way you look at things, a radical altering, shifting.